Welcome back to Dead Good Book Reviews. I'm Judith and you're watching another What I'm Reading Right Now video here on the channel. This is the series where I talk about what I have been reading, what I'm currently reading, and what I shall be reading next. Continuing the theme of this year where every single week I tell you about a new way that I've deeply improved my life and then the next week say, it didn't work, I didn't do anything. We're bringing in some changes here on Dead Good Book Reviews. First up, I don't think you'll be able to tell, but I have slightly moved my bookshelves. So instead of being a corner, they are now a line. I don't know how this will affect the audio in this room, or indeed the filming angle. I think you are a little bit wonky and I will fix you right now. I'm trying it. I'm seeing if it makes my office feel more spacious. It's pretty decent. Maybe better, maybe worse. Hard to tell. The other change, I don't know if anyone would notice unless you were mapping out my life in an extreme way, which if you are, a little bit creepy, but I have moved the day I am filming these, and I think I'm going to keep it here going forward. Previously, I would film what I'm reading right now on a Wednesday lunchtime. I would try and film, and then I would rush edit it Wednesday or Thursday, sometimes subtitle it Friday morning and get it up for Friday afternoon. Now I'm shifting it. It's currently Monday. It is Monday the 18th of March right now, and I'm filming this. It's still going to go up on Friday, so that's not going to change for you, but I will be talking about the previous week as like a 7-day chunk. And I think, firstly, that will make it a little bit easier for me to manage my life and know what week I'm in. Secondly, it gives me way more time to edit, which time is something very precious to me right now. It gives me a bit of leeway in case I can't film on a Monday. And most importantly, Monday is the one day of the week where I do not have a run scheduled or going to the gym scheduled. So I am slightly more awake on Mondays. So hopefully I can use this to kind of set intentions for the week, reflect on the previous week, and not stress about trying to fit filming into the day. And it also maybe encouraged me to also film other things on Mondays, so I'm not panicking about next week's video. We're trying to make life easier. That's what I'm saying here. With that in mind though, obviously the last time I spoke to you was Wednesday of last week. It's now Monday of the week after, and not that much time has passed and I've not read that many books. So this week we will have even fewer books to talk about, but I think I waffle enough that this video is still going to be a million years long. Sorry. The main thing that has been occupying my brain for the last week or so in terms of reading has been my reread of the Broken Earth trilogy by NK Jemisin. I finished the audiobook of The Obelisk Gate. Loved this. I'm not going to go into this series in too much detail. I did talk about book 1 last week. Just, the sequel is so good. I had completely forgotten 100% of everything that happened in this, so it's basically a fresh read for me. But this is just such a great sequel. I remembered this series being much more airy and conceptual than it actually is. It's a deeply solid actual plot series. I'm having a great time. There's definitely some playing around with the concept of time and perspective, but it's not as conceptual and arty as I personally remembered it being. So loving that, because my brain just would not cope with it right now. I am 15% of the way into the audiobook of The Stone Sky. This is the last book in the trilogy. Not a huge amount to report because I'm only 15% of the way through, but continuing to just love this, to love the characters, to deeply enjoy getting back into NK Jemisin's writing. I'm hopefully going to retain more information this time around, I think. I think I will be worse at knowing how to spell the characters' names and remembering what to do with that, but better at remembering the plot overall on this reread. That's my goal. Things I'm currently reading, I am still reading The Spear Cuts Through Water. This is my review copy that I'm trying to focus on this week. It's not going great. It's not amazing for my brain. Conversely, it's very conceptual. There's a lot to it and it's very well written and it's very good. I don't know if it's what my brain wants. And I don't know if that's a case of it's what my brain wants right now, or if it's a case of what my brain wants ever. It's not split up into chapters, which is not a problem technically, but is making it more difficult for me to dip in and out of it in the way that my life demands I do right now. I don't want to DNF it, I do want to keep going with it. I think I'm like 26% of the way through now. I just need to dedicate a little bit of time, more than half an hour at a time, I think. If I give myself an hour, I can plug through and really get into it a bit more. I want to like it. I really do. I really want to like it, and I think I might come out the other side saying this is a book for another time for me, is my suspicion and my prediction at this point in time. If we're setting intentions, we are going to continue to set bold intentions that probably won't come to fruition because of how busy I am doing other bits and pieces, unless I invest in a whole load of audiobooks, which I might do. We have The City We Became by NK Jemisin. As you can tell, I'm in that period of my overbooked reviews. This is a really good series. I already know that I like this. Obviously, The Worlds We Make will follow. This is NK Jemisin's urban fantasy, and it's about New York, and It's just going to be a great time. It's deeply, deeply fun. I know I love this. I read it back in 2020 when it came out. Excited to read it again. I will hopefully be reading Ancillary Justice by Anne Leckie. This is another one that I probably ought to try an audiobook, I think. This is a sci-fi. I don't remember much about it despite having been in a book club where we talked about it, but it was 2020 or 2021, and I can't be responsible for remembering what was happening to me then. This is an overbooked read because I own book 1 and I would like to read the rest of the series this year, so we are starting that off. I don't know how far we will get, but we are starting it. That's my plan. The Tea Kingfisher read-along continues. We have shifted away from the Saint of Seal series and we are now reading A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking. This is one where I'm not super worried if I don't get to it because I know it well enough. I have talked about it on the channel before. I know that I like it and I know other people will like it as well. I can kind of participate in that discussion without worrying too much about reading it, but I would like to read it. I think it would be good for my brain and an enjoyable time. This is the story about a wizard who she has a power about baking. She has a sourdough familiar. It's Tea Kingfisher's young adult, which still combines her kind of whimsy and horror elements to it. I remember loving this. I would like to get a reread in, if possible. Maybe by audio. There aren't enough hours in the day for me to do this much audiobook. I don't know what I'm saying to myself. And if I finish everything else, they say incredibly optimistically, I'm trying to change the way I look at my review copies because everything was getting a wee bit overwhelming. So instead of planning which review copy I will read every week, I just have a slot in my schedule that is whatever the next review copy is, because I think it matters to me to finish the stuff that's coming out soonest first. It's just how my brain works. Previously, I was doing it based on what arrived at my door first, but that doesn't actually work very well when some publishers send things out months in advance and some send them days in advance. But I digress. If I finish everything, I would like to read Lucy Holland's Song of the Huntress, a delight for fans of Madeline Miller's Circe. Song of the Huntress recasts the folklore behind the Wild Hunt into a dark feminist fantasy set amidst the legends and beauty of ancient Britain. I liked Sister Song. I didn't think it was as amazing as some people did, but I did like Sister Song, and this is very beautiful, so I'm excited to read it. I can't say that I would necessarily be picking it up if they hadn't sent me a copy, if I'm being perfectly honest. Review copies that have turned up on my doorstep in the last week or so. I'm not requesting many of these. I don't want to be one of those reviewers who's constantly behind and yet also requesting a whole bunch of things. There's only a couple. I got a physical copy of The Weavers of Alamaxa. This is the sequel to The Daughters of Izdihar. Would love to get a reread in. I'm not going to. I know I'm not going to if I want to read this in a timely fashion, so I'm just going to jump in. It's not very long. Excuse the packing slips that are still in with this. I know it's going to be a good time. I'm looking forward to it. Elemental Magic, Women's Revolution. It's going to be fun. And the other book that I got approved for on NetGalley was Queen Bee by Juno Dawson. This is in the same universe as her HMRC Royal Coven series. I don't know what that series is actually called, but this is going back in time and looking at Anne Boleyn, who founded this Society of Witches, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good time. I've really liked the rest of the series so far. Every single book has been a really emotional, cathartic, and yet kind of silly fun story, so I'm looking forward to seeing what going further back in time looks like. Last thing to cover is new releases. I have one thing I want to bring up for myself, which is that The Floating Hotel by Grace Curtis comes out on the 21st of March. This looks so good, and I've said that about a lot of things and been a bit disappointed this year, but this seems like it's kind of Becky Chambers inspired. Grand Budapest Hotel, which I'll admit I've never seen, but that is a comparison people are making. Slice of life, science fiction, space hotel. I want to read it. It looks beautiful. I want to pick this up. I'm hoping my library gets a copy or that it will show up on Everand because I would love to read this. That's what it looks like. I haven't read it. I can't comment on it, but it's on my list for things I would like to get to. And that is everything I wanted to cover this week. Look how organised I was. I made a list. What have you been reading? What have you been up to? Let me know down in the comments below. While you're commenting, if you haven't already, please do subscribe. It makes me feel loved and appreciated. You can also come hang out on Discord where we have chill chats about books. That's also where that read along is. I'd like to say an enormous thank you to all the ghosts who haunt me over on Patreon. They support the channel and in return get early access to videos, bonus content, live streams, and more. If you'd like to join their number, that's linked below as well. Thank you so much to you for watching. That's all from me, and I will see you in the next one. There's gonna be some bloopers now. Welcome back to Dead Good Book Reviews. I'm Judith, and you're watching another episode. Nope, you're not.